Have you ever stood on the edge of a dream, only to hear a tiny voice whisper, "You can't"? That is doubt, the silent thief of destiny. It doesn't storm in with noise. It creeps in quietly, convincing you to step back before you even try. But what if I told you that the very words leaving your mouth could break its grip forever? Every word you speak is a seed. Imagine this: one person plants weeds, the other plants roses. The soil is the same, the water is the same, but the harvest completely different. What are you planting into the garden of your life? Fear or faith? Your voice is not just sound, it is creation in motion. When you speak, you give shape to the invisible. Say, "I am successful," with conviction, and the universe begins to rearrange in your favor. Say, "I am defeated," and watch how life bends to that as well. The choice, my friend, is yours. The mind is an obedient servant, it follows the tongue. If you constantly speak of lack, your mind will search for proof of lack. But if you speak of abundance, joy, and victory, your mind will work day and night to find them for you. Isn't it time you trained it to hear victory, not defeat? History has shown faith-filled words have turned broken dreams into living miracles. Just one sentence, spoken with unwavering belief, can shatter the impossible. You don't need to know how it will happen. You just need to speak as if it already has. And here's the final truth: consistency is your secret weapon. Doubt may come knocking every day, but if your mouth is full of life, it will find no room to stay. Speak it when you wake up. Speak it when you feel weak. Speak it when the storm rages. Speak until the walls of fear crumble to dust. So today, I ask you, will you let doubt steal one more dream from you? Or will you rise, plant the seed of your words, and speak your vision into existence? It does not always arrive like a loud enemy you can easily identify. Instead, it slips in quietly, disguised as caution, logic, or even self-protection. It sits in the corners of your mind, waiting for the moment when you dare to imagine something bigger than your current reality. Have you noticed how doubt rarely argues with you openly, yet somehow it convinces you to give up before you have even tried? It does not shout, "You can't do it," in a dramatic voice. No, that would be too obvious. Instead, it softly whispers, "Maybe this isn't the right time," or "What if you fail?" And without realizing it, you nod, step back, and let the opportunity slip away. Isn't it strange how something so quiet can have so much power over the course of a life? Think about the countless dreams that never saw the light of day, not because the dreamer lacked talent or resources, but because doubt crept in and convinced them that success was reserved for other people. How many inventions were never built? How many books were never written? How many songs were never sung? All because doubt sat on the throne of someone's mind. And here's the most fascinating and terrifying part: doubt often wears the mask of reason. It pretends to be your ally, telling you to be realistic, to avoid risk, to protect yourself from disappointment. But in reality, it's protecting you from growth. Doubt doesn't just attack your actions, it attacks your identity. It whispers not only "you can't do this," but "you are not the kind of person who does this." And once you start believing that identity, everything else begins to align with it. Your decisions, your energy, your environment, they all bend to match the picture doubt has painted for you. Isn't that the most subtle yet dangerous form of theft? What's more, doubt doesn't require a reason to exist. It can thrive in perfect conditions. You could have every skill, every connection, every tool you need, and yet, if doubt takes root, it will drain the courage out of you like a parasite. It's not the absence of resources that stops most people, it's the absence of belief. And belief is exactly what doubt is designed to destroy. Have you ever noticed that doubt grows faster when you are on the verge of a breakthrough? The closer you get to a major step forward, the louder those internal whispers become. Are you sure you're ready? What if this ruins everything? What will people think if you fail? Doubt doesn't come to stop you, When you're doing nothing, it comes. When you are about to do something that matters. That should tell you everything you need to know about its nature. And here's the paradox: doubt can sometimes disguise itself as humility. It will say things like, "Oh, I'm just being modest," or "I don't want to overestimate myself." But humility is knowing your strengths and your limits, while doubt is denying your strengths altogether. Humility says, "I can learn, I can grow, I can improve." Doubt says, "Don't even start because you're not enough." Can you see the difference? Even more dangerous is when doubt is reinforced by others. Sometimes the people you love most become the echo chamber for your fears. They may not mean harm, they may even believe they're protecting you. But if they speak from their own fears, their words become fuel for your own doubt. And suddenly, it's not just your inner voice you're fighting. It's the chorus of external voices agreeing with it. How many dreams have died in the presence of such agreement? The reality is this: doubt feeds on inaction. The longer you wait, the stronger it becomes. Every day you postpone your dream, you give doubt another vote of confidence. It becomes part of your habits, part of your thought patterns, part of your identity. And before long, it's no longer just a voice, it's the lens through which you see the world. You start interpreting every challenge as proof that it's not meant to be, when in fact, it's simply the natural resistance of life pushing back to test your commitment. But here's what's even more astonishing: doubt cannot survive in the same space as decisive action. The moment you take a bold step forward, no matter how small, you begin to weaken its grip. The moment you choose to speak words of possibility instead of words of fear, you start reclaiming the territory it has stolen from you. Every action in the direction of your dream is like changing the locks on the doors of your mind, shutting doubt out where it belongs. So ask yourself, how many times have you given away your future because you let doubt convince you that you were not ready? How many blessings have you missed because you believed the lie that maybe it's not the right time? And the biggest question of all: how much longer will you allow this silent thief to rob you of your destiny before you decide to speak against it, act against it, and live beyond it? Whether you realize it or not, your mouth is a constant gardener, scattering seeds into the soil of your life. The moment you release a word, you give life to a thought, and that thought begins to grow into reality. But here's the part most people overlook: seeds do not care whether they are of flowers or weeds. If you plant words of fear, doubt, and failure, don't be surprised when the harvest mirrors exactly what you spoke. If you plant words of faith, confidence, and abundance, the garden of your life will reflect that as well. Isn't it astonishing how the simplest sentence can carry the power to shape your tomorrow? Think about it: farmers never expect to plant corn and reap roses, yet people speak words of limitation every day and still expect a life full of success and joy. How can that be? Words are spiritual seeds. They carry within them the blueprint for the harvest they will produce. Just as an apple seed will never produce an orange tree, a seed of self-pity will never produce a life of courage. Why then do we speak words like "I'm not good enough," or "this will never work," and expect our future to be anything but a reflection of those very words? Your mind is the soil, and your heart is the climate. When you speak, you send a message deep into your subconscious, and it begins to arrange everything around you to match the picture your words painted. Say, "I can't afford this," and your mind will look for proof that you can't. Say, "Opportunities are coming to me," and your mind will begin scanning the horizon for them. Isn't it incredible how faithfully the soil of your mind grows whatever you plant? But here's the challenge: unlike a real garden, you cannot choose not to plant. Every conversation, every self-talk, every careless phrase is a seed. Some people think they're just joking when they speak negatively about themselves, not realizing that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a joke and a declaration. To your inner world, every word is a command. Imagine a gardener throwing poisonous seeds into the soil, saying, "Oh, I'm just kidding, these won't really grow." Would you risk it? Then why risk it with your own future? And what about repetition? A seed watered daily will sprout faster than one forgotten in the dirt. In the same way, a phrase you repeat often becomes deeply rooted in your mind. If that phrase is empowering, you are building a strong tree that will bear fruit for years to come. If it's destructive, you are building a weed so strong it will choke out anything beautiful trying to grow. This is why some people feel stuck. Their minds are overgrown with the weeds of their own words. Consider the seasons of life. Sometimes you plant a seed with your words and see results instantly, like telling yourself, "I am ready," and suddenly finding the courage to take action. Other times, the seed takes months or even years to grow. That's why patience is part of the process. Farmers don't dig up seeds every day to check if they're growing, they trust the soil. In the same way, when you speak positive words, you must trust that they are taking root, even when you see no immediate change. Isn't it beautiful to think that your unseen words are working for you even now? There's also the principle of protecting your seeds. A farmer doesn't just plant and walk away, they protect their crop from pests and storms. In life, your pests are the negative voices around you, and your storms are the setbacks that tempt you to speak words of defeat. Protect your seeds by refusing to speak against them. If you've declared, "I am building my dream," don't follow it a week later with, "It's too hard, I might quit." Would you plant roses and then stomp on them before they bloom? Even your environment matters. Words are seeds, yes, but the ground they fall on determines their growth. If you constantly surround yourself with people who speak fear, gossip, and limitation, your own seeds will struggle to grow. But place yourself in an environment where faith, courage, and possibility are spoken daily, and watch your garden thrive. Can you see now why guarding your circle is just as important as guarding your words? The truth is, life is always listening. The universe, God, fate, whatever you call it, responds to the vibration of your words. Speak scarcity and you'll always live in lack. Speak abundance and doors will open that you didn't even know existed. Words are not harmless, they are architectural plans for your future. Each syllable is a brick, each sentence a blueprint. What are you building with your words right now? So ask yourself, if every word you spoke today became the reality you will live in tomorrow, would you speak differently? Would you still say, "I can't"? Would you still say, "I'm unlucky"? Or would you start declaring, "I am capable, I am favored, I am becoming who I'm meant to be"? The seeds you plant today will be the shade you sit under tomorrow. Plant wisely, because the garden of your life is listening to every word you speak. It is not just sound, not just air passing through vocal cords. It is the force that shapes your reality. From the moment you speak, you send invisible ripples into the atmosphere, and those ripples begin to organize the unseen in your favor or against you, depending on what you said. Have you ever realized that your voice is more than communication, it is creation? You are, in a very real sense, an architect every time you open your mouth. The blueprints for your future are drawn with the ink of your words. Think about how many great moments in history began with a single spoken sentence, a declaration, a promise, a vision shared aloud. Before the building was built, the leader said, "We will do this." Before the movement began, someone stood and declared, "Change is coming." Before the breakthrough happened, a voice spoke into the silence. Isn't that incredible? The act of speaking is often the very first act of creation. Your voice is a signal to your own mind and to the world around you. When you say, "I can do this," you are giving permission for your mind to find solutions and your actions to align. When you say, "I can't," you are shutting the door before you even see what's behind it. The spoken word is like a command to your inner world. It tells your thoughts, emotions, and energy where to go. Just as a captain gives orders to a crew, your voice gives orders to your life. What orders are you giving? And here's something fascinating. Your own voice has a unique authority over you. You can read inspiring words in a book. You can hear a powerful speech from someone else. But when you hear your own voice declaring something, it carries a deeper impact. This is why affirmations spoken aloud are so powerful. When you hear yourself say, "I am capable," it doesn't just sit in your conscious mind, it sinks into your subconscious, where your deepest beliefs live. The subconscious doesn't question, "Is this true?" It simply takes it as instruction and starts to make it so. Isn't that worth paying attention to? But here's the danger: if your voice has the power to create, it also has the power to destroy. Words of fear, hopelessness, or self-criticism are just as creative as words of faith, hope, and self-belief. They simply create the opposite outcome. Saying "nothing ever works for me" is as much a creative act as saying "things are working out in my favor." The only difference is in the harvest those words produce. Why would you ever use your own voice to build a prison around your potential? Your voice doesn't just affect your inner world, it affects the people around you too. When you speak possibility, you inspire. When you speak limitation, you discourage. Your words can plant courage in someone else's heart or plant fear in their mind. And here's the thing: you don't have to be giving a speech to influence someone. A casual conversation, an offhand remark, even something you say to yourself in passing, can change the atmosphere for you and for others. Can you see now why every word matters? Another remarkable truth is that your voice can call things into existence before they appear. This is not superstition, it's alignment. When you speak as if your goal is already reality, you begin to think, act, and move in ways that make it so. If you say, "I am becoming healthier every day," you'll start making choices that match that identity. If you say, "I'm just unhealthy," you'll reinforce habits that keep you there. It's not magic, it's the way the mind and body respond to declared belief. Your tone matters just as much as your words. You could say, "I believe I can do this," in a weak, unsure tone, and it will carry little power. But say it with strength, with conviction, and you send a very different message, not just to others, but to yourself. Your voice is like music, it carries emotion, and emotion adds energy to your words. Have you noticed how much more powerful something feels when you say it with feeling? Consistency is key. Speaking once with belief is good, but speaking daily with belief is transformative. Every repetition strengthens the mental and emotional pathway, making it easier to believe and act on. Your voice becomes a steady hammer, striking against the stone of doubt until it breaks. Over time, you stop just saying the words, you start being the words. Even silence plays a role. If your voice is a creative tool, then withholding it when you should speak can allow fear and negativity to fill the space. There are moments when speaking up, even to yourself, is the very thing that shifts the momentum. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt fear building inside you, and then you spoke something bold and suddenly felt stronger? That is the creative power of your voice in action. So ask yourself, what if you truly believed that every word you spoke was shaping the world you live in tomorrow? Would you still waste your voice on complaining, doubting, or belittling yourself? Or would you use it to speak life, speak strength, speak vision? The truth is, you are holding a creative instrument that works 24/7. Use it well, because your voice is not just sound, it is the very breath of creation. It is one of the most overlooked truths about human nature, yet it shapes every success and every failure. Your tongue is like the commander, and your mind is the soldier. It follows orders without hesitation, without debate. The moment you speak something, your mind begins to arrange your thoughts, emotions, and actions to match those words. Isn't that powerful? And yet, so many people use this power against themselves every single day without even realizing it. When you say, "I can't do this," your mind doesn't argue with you. It simply accepts the command and begins to look for evidence to support it. It will recall every past failure, every time you felt unprepared, every reason you should quit. But when you say, I can do this, your mind shifts into problem-solving mode, searching for possibilities, resources, and strategies. Isn't it incredible how the same mind can work either for you or against you depending on the orders it receives? This is why careless words are so dangerous. You might think you're just expressing frustration when you say, I'm so unlucky. But your mind hears it as an instruction, and from that point, it filters your experiences through the lens of bad luck. You could have 100 things go right, and your mind will still focus on the one thing that went wrong, just to prove your words true. Why would you give such instructions to your own mind? The tongue doesn't just influence conscious thought, it programs the subconscious. And the subconscious is where your deepest beliefs live, the ones that drive your habits, your decisions, and even your emotional reactions. Once the subconscious accepts a belief, it works tirelessly to make it reality. Speak enough negativity, and your subconscious will make sure your life lines up with it. Speak enough possibility, and it will begin to guide you toward it, often in ways you don't consciously notice. That's not magic, it's mental alignment in action. Have you ever caught yourself saying something like, I always mess this up? The moment those words leave your mouth, your mind starts replaying every time you failed, reinforcing that belief until it becomes part of your identity. Soon, you don't just make mistakes, you expect to make them, and you behave accordingly, but flip the script and say, I'm getting better at this every day, and your mind will search for proof of improvement. It will notice even small progress and use it as fuel to keep going. The orders you give your mind determine the reality you experience. This is also why affirmations are so effective when used consistently. When you repeatedly tell your mind something positive, you are reprogramming it to expect and work toward that outcome. If you say, I attract opportunities, your mind becomes more alert to possibilities that were always there but went unnoticed before. It's as if your words turn on a spotlight in your awareness, making it easier to see the paths that lead to your goals. Isn't that worth speaking for? The mind's obedience to the tongue works in moments of challenge as well. Imagine facing a difficult situation and saying to yourself, I'm overwhelmed, I can't handle this. Immediately, your mind will start shutting down, looking for ways to retreat or escape. But if you say, I can handle this, I will find a way, your mind begins searching for solutions instead. The situation may not instantly change, but your mental state will, and that difference can be the deciding factor between giving up and pushing through. Even your physical body responds to the tongue's commands. Have you noticed how saying, I'm so tired, makes you feel even more drained, while saying, I have energy for this, can give you a small boost, even if nothing else changes? That's because your brain and body are in constant communication, and your spoken words influence that conversation. You are, in effect, telling your entire system how to behave. One of the most remarkable aspects of this truth is how it compounds over time. A single negative statement might not ruin your mindset, just as a single positive one might not transform it instantly. But repeated day after day, year after year, the orders you give your mind shape the life you live. Speak defeat often enough, and you will live in defeat. Speak victory often enough, and you will walk in victory. Which one do you want your mind to obey? Your tongue is also a filter. Whatever you speak often becomes what you notice most in life. Say, there's never enough money, and you'll see every bill, every expense, every reason you can't afford something. Say, there's always a way to make it happen, and you'll start spotting creative solutions, side opportunities, and unexpected resources. It's not that the world suddenly changes, it's that your mind changes what it's looking for based on what your tongue told it to find. There is no escaping this law. Whether you use it intentionally or not, it's always at work. The tongue gives the orders, the mind carries them out. So the question becomes, what are you instructing your mind to believe, to see, and to create? Every sentence you speak is either a blueprint for building the life you want, or a recipe for building the life you fear. Speak carefully, speak powerfully, And remember, the mind obeys the tongue without question. Picture the mind as a rich, fertile garden. Every thought you plant is a seed, every word you speak is water, and every emotion you attach to it is sunlight or shadow. How astonishing it is that so many people wonder why their lives are filled with weeds when, day after day, they have been planting the seeds of fear, limitation, and defeat. If you desire a harvest of confidence, peace, and abundance, then why scatter seeds of doubt? Do you see now how every word you speak has the power to either strengthen the roots of your dream or choke it before it blooms? Your words are not empty, they are living instructions to the unseen forces of life. Every phrase carries a vibration, a command, a blueprint. When you declare, "I can't," the soil of your mind hears you, and without hesitation, it begins to grow circumstances that match that declaration. When you say, "I can," with conviction, the same soil obeys and begins arranging the right opportunities, resources, and people to make it real. Isn't it extraordinary that your very life is simply the echo of what you've been saying all along? Think about the way a child believes the words of a parent. If you tell that child, "You're capable, you're strong, you can do anything," their tiny eyes light up and they begin to act with boldness. But if you constantly say, "Be careful, don't try, you might fail," their confidence shrinks and fear becomes their habit. Now ask yourself, aren't you also that child in your own mind, listening daily to the words you speak to yourself? What have you been parenting your soul with, encouragement or warning, faith or fear? When you speak with doubt, you weaken your inner foundation. It's like building a magnificent palace, but using crumbling stones for the walls. Every "maybe I can't" is a crack. Every "what if it doesn't work" is loose mortar. But when you speak with certainty, every brick becomes solid, every beam unshakable. Isn't it time to stop tearing down your own dream with the very words meant to build it? Your words also create alignment in the invisible realm. The moment you speak with absolute faith, unseen doors begin to swing open. Circumstances rearrange themselves to match your conviction. People you've never met come into your path. Opportunities you couldn't have imagined before suddenly appear. But the opposite is just as true when you speak with hesitation. You send mixed instructions, and life becomes confused about what to deliver. Can you see why some people feel stuck? For years, their words are a contradiction to their desires. Consider the great innovators, leaders, and change-makers in history. Long before anyone else could see their vision, they spoke it as if it already existed. "It will happen," they said, and the world bent to their certainty. They were not guessing, they were declaring, and that declaration turned thought into reality. Isn't it remarkable that you hold the same tool, the same power, right now, within your own voice? So why not make every word you speak a deliberate act of creation? Why not speak life into your health, wealth, relationships, and dreams as if they are already unfolding before your eyes? Every time you say, "I am," you are writing a sentence in the book of your life. Will you fill that book with fear, filled chapters, or with stories of courage, victory, and miracles? The choice is yours, but the pen is your tongue. Because here's the truth, your life is not responding to what you wish for. It's responding to what you keep saying. If your words are small, your world will be small. If your words are grand, your world will expand. Speak as though the universe is hanging on your every syllable, because it is. Speak with the authority of someone who knows their words are not merely sound, they are the building blocks of destiny. And remember, every word is a seed, so plant wisely, water generously, and watch in wonder as your spoken truth grows into a living reality. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast field with seeds in your hand, knowing that each seed has the potential to grow into something extraordinary. That is exactly what your words are, seeds planted in the soil of life. Every sentence you speak, every phrase you repeat, every declaration you release into the air is a seed that either grows into a beautiful reality or withers because it was never truly nurtured. Have you ever stopped to think that the conversations you have with yourself are not just idle chatter, but the very blueprint of your destiny. Your words are not just vibrations in the air. They are commands to the unseen forces that shape your life. When you say, "I can't," you instruct the universe to shut the door, but when you say, "I can," you ignite possibilities that you cannot yet see with your physical eyes. Why sabotage your own journey by uttering words of defeat when you have the power to speak life into every dream? Think about the people who have achieved greatness. They didn't only work hard physically, they also worked hard mentally and verbally. They spoke their dreams before the evidence appeared. They declared, "I will succeed," long before success knocked on their door. Isn't it fascinating how your own mouth can either be your greatest ally or your fiercest enemy? The truth is, every word carries a vibration, and vibrations attract similar vibrations. Speak failure, and you'll notice more failure. Speak abundance, and watch abundance find its way to you like a homing bird that never loses its path. When you declare your intentions with absolute certainty, you don't just hope for change, you summon it. Words infused with belief act like keys, unlocking doors that seemed permanently shut. Have you ever noticed how when you speak something with conviction, you feel an energy shift inside you? That's because your subconscious is listening and it doesn't argue. It accepts your words as truth and begins to rearrange your inner world to match them. But here's the catch: you cannot mix faith-filled words with doubt-filled ones and expect miracles. You cannot say, "I am strong," in the morning and "I am so weak" in the evening and hope to build unshakable strength. Your words must be consistent. They must drip with certainty every single time. Even in the face of temporary setbacks, you must hold your declaration steady like a lighthouse that never stops shining, no matter how fierce the storm. Your words should be dressed in clarity and adorned with gratitude. Instead of saying, "I hope something good happens," say, "Good things are on their way to me now." Instead of, "I wish I could," declare, "I am already equipped and I am doing it now." Can you feel the difference? One is weak and uncertain, while the other is a royal decree that commands respect from the universe itself. Start noticing the conversations you have every day. Are they planting seeds of possibility or seeds of limitation? Replace every careless negative phrase with a carefully crafted positive one. Turn "this is too hard" into "I am capable" and "I am learning fast." Transform "nothing ever works for me" into "everything is aligning for my highest good." Do not underestimate the silent, steady magic of persistent declarations. It may not happen overnight, but day by day, word by word, you will see your spoken reality take shape before your eyes. Just like water shapes stone over time, your words carve the path to your future. So, stand tall, speak boldly, and watch the unseen bend to the sound of your voice. Because when you master the art of speaking your reality into existence, you no longer chase your dreams, they begin to chase you.